I've been smoking weed for several years, and I've been shopping in head shops for a long time. Head shops are one of my favorite places on the planet. Smoke shops, pipe stores, whatever you want to call them. The phrase, you're like a kid in a candy store, relates to me with head shops. You're like Cewpins in a head shop. I have to go in a head shop every time I see one. And bro, let me tell you, this thing right here, this Moose Labs mouthpiece filter, has got to be one of the weirdest scams right now. For those of you that don't know what this is, it's a silicone mouthpiece you put on the mouthpiece of your bong, and they have these little activated carbon filters that filter out your smoke. And they make some weird claims. Like right on the packaging, they say, remove the bad, inhale the good. I checked it out on their website, and the quote on their website is, mouthpiece filters enhance the flavor of your smoke by removing the harsh resins and tar without removing any of the good stuff. Without removing any of the good stuff. That means the THC, essentially. So they're claiming that the resin that they're filtering out has no THC in it. What? That's not true. There's no way you're filtering out the smoke and these filters fill up with resin and somehow it has no THC in it. They also say on here, triple layer filters do not reduce airflow. And then they follow up with, replace as needed for optimal performance. You know what affects the performance? The reduced airflow from using it. Bro, what kind of filter is picking up contaminants, but it's not going to reduce the airflow? Does your air conditioner have a filter? Does that shit get filled up and the airflow is not reduced? I actually tested this out. I felt the airflow reducing mid-hit. You take a fat bong rip and it actually starts to pick up resin, the airflow is reduced immediately. After one hit, the second hit isn't as easy as the first hit. The claims on here are wild. So I have seen some people trying to defend these and they're like, oh, they have a scientific study, bro. Go check it out. The scientific study on their website is such fucking bullshit, dude. It's a bacterial study and it has everything to do with the silicone mouthpiece. I bought the OG version of their product. This is just a silicone mouthpiece with no carbon filter. I got this years ago in Colorado when I was going to a lot of smoke lounges and I was just using the community pieces there. I didn't want to put my mouth on the same rig that 100 people were hitting. So I got one of these and it's actually a pretty good product. This is essentially the same thing, except they have these bullshit filters you can stick in there. So they did a bacterial study that gives you no information on the filter at all. The filter itself isn't studied. The only thing that they studied is they went to like some smoking event. They had a rig out on the table. They let 50 people hit this with the mouthpiece, and then they tested the level of bacteria on it. They're trying to tell you on their website that the average bong is dirtier than a dumpster or a public toilet. Bro, they are getting wild with it. But the study they did is so basic. It has nothing to do with the filter at all. They tested the glass surface of a piece where 50 people hit it using the silicone in place of putting their lips on the mouthpiece. And then they tested another one where 50 people put their lips on the mouthpiece. You don't need to do the test there to know which one's going to have more germs on it. You don't even need to use the filter to have less germs on it. They could have used a potato instead of this filter and got the same results. It's so wild to me that they make such weird fucking claims and then they try to say they have a study to back it up when they really don't. I do want to say, again, this is a pretty good product. If you're sharing stuff, you don't want to get germs, that's a good way to avoid germs. That's what it's for. It's not going to filter out the bad and you're just going to inhale the good. It's so wild to me. I do also want to address that I see people using this on dab rigs. I see a lot of people doing bong rips. On Mondays on my Twitch stream, we rate and review bong hits. People send me a lot of bong hits. Send me your next hit if you want me to check it out on Monday. You can send it on Discord or Reddit. But I've seen a lot of bong hits. And when I see somebody using one of these on their dab rig, I fucking laugh, dude. What are you doing? When they extracted your cannabis oil, they already filtered out all of the bad. You just have the good there. What are you filtering out? Bro, imagine dabbing with a little carbon filter and just like absorbing a little percentage of your THC. You're straight up scamming yourself with that. A couple other points I want to make is this will make your hit smoother. I've used carbon filters, charcoal filters, all kinds of filters. But in my opinion, you shouldn't use it before the mouthpiece. The best kind of carbon filter or charcoal filter goes right between your bowl and the joint. You want to filter the smoke immediately after it's created. You know what that does? That keeps your piece cleaner. If you've seen products like tar cutter or charcoal filters, those kind of things, they're a little bit tricky to manage, but they do a much better job of filtering, and they filter the smoke before it goes into your piece, so your piece is easier to clean. This just filters it before it goes into your mouth and steals some of your THC. It can make smoke hits smoother, but if you're smoking so much that you need to consider using a filter to make your hits easier, you should probably switch to dabbing or you're smoking too much. If you're doing 20, 30 bong rips in a day and you're like, oh bro, I need something to fucking calm it down, you might be smoking too much, or you should switch to dabbing. But there's no way that this doesn't steal some of your THC. It's wild to me how many products are out there that just make bullshit claims and they get away with it forever. This video is obviously not sponsored. A couple other points I want to make is if you want less resin in your hits, if you're getting resin lips or you're getting a lot of resin in your throat, it could be due to the quality of the weed that you're smoking. It could have been dried and cured improperly. There's a lot of factors filters that go into it. So if you're getting tons of tar and resin every hit, it could be the weed. But also something I've learned over the years from experience is that if you use warm water as opposed to using like cold water and ice in your bong, warm water is going to produce less resin per hit. The hits are going to be smoother and the smoke is going to produce less resin. Bro, every time I've hit a piece filled with ice, I just get resin all over my lips and teeth. I feel it in my lungs. Cold hits produce a lot of resin. Warm hits don't produce as much. Also, something I want to point out is this has a very narrow entry for the smoke. It basically forces the smoke into a tiny little hole. Something I've noticed from years of smoking is anytime I'm smoking with something with a narrow mouthpiece, it produces so much more resin when you concentrate the smoke. A bigger chamber, like a big tube bong, the smoke isn't pressed together. It's not concentrated. It's not going to produce as much resin. So when you squeeze all the smoke into this narrow entry, it's more likely to produce resin because of the narrow entry, because you're bringing all the smoke together in a tight space. And what's right after the narrow entry? That filter they're trying to sell you on. Bro, they got subscriptions for that filter. They sell them in big old packs. They really want you to just buy a bunch of trash filters. But any of my piece, if I smoke out of anything with a narrow mouthpiece, there's going to be so much resin in the mouthpiece. I'm going to get it on my lips and my teeth. And that's due to me narrowing the smoke down into a small tube. If you taper off the mouthpiece of your bong and you pull it through a bendy straw, that bendy straw is going to get clogged with resin after 1 or 2 hits because you're narrowing the path of the smoke. Bro, this is a fucking scam. The filters on these are bullshit. If you're looking for something to avoid germs from sharing pieces, this could work, but I think the old one's better. Kind of looks like a butt plug, but it's better. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Let me know if you agree with me on these filters. Let me know if you've used one, if you've tried one out and you swear by it. And if you want to hear about my first day working at a dispensary or my first day as a bud tender, check this video out. Peace out, my dudes.